In this video, I'll show you how to do Chroma streaming on Windows PC and Windows Cloud Gaming for Unreal Engine 4. Cloud Gaming would be Amazon Luna, NVIDIA GeForce Now, and Microsoft Game Pass. The Unreal Sample app uses a Chroma plugin, and that Chroma plugin uses the Chroma editor library. You can find the latest versions of these in the release section, where there'll be the Windows PC versions of the library and the Windows Cloud versions of the library. The Unreal Sample app has all the Chroma samples from the Chroma Design Guide. The Chroma Design Guide has 47 sample effects, and it's also a visual API guide showing how you can manipulate Chroma effects. And in the sample app folder, we can find the sample project. Here you'll find the U project file, and we can just right-click that and switch the Unreal version. I'll switch to the latest Unreal 4, 427, and hit OK to generate the Visual Studio project. Okay, and if we look at the U project, it's been associated with the Unreal Engine 427. Unreal 427 has deprecated this developer type, so we can just change that to runtime. And in plugins, there's the U plugin file. I manually edited the engine version, so instead of being the 421.0, I changed it to be 4.27 to match the engine version, otherwise you get a build warning with the plugin. So back to the U project, we've generated the Visual Studio solution file. If we look at the developer documentation for setting up Unreal, you can see the table here. So the repo is checked in on Unreal 421. Anything later than 422 or later can use Visual Studio 2019. And with Unreal 427, it's not shown here, but we can use Visual Studio 2022. And Visual Studio 2022 also works with Unreal Engine 5. Okay, and here we have the Visual Studio project, and we'll just build the sample project. So build the plugin and the samples. Okay, now that the solution's built, let's take a look at the project. And if we go into the binaries folder, let's just make sure that everything is here that we need. Before I open up the editor, let's just make sure that the Windows PC Chroma editor library is included in the binaries folder. The Chroma plugin will use the 64-bit library, and within binaries we need a Win32 folder, and make sure we have the 32-bit version of the library. Now we're ready to open up the U project file in Unreal, and within the content levels, if I open up the sample level and just hit play, we can see streaming support is there, and then we have all the buttons. With the Chroma emulator open, when I click on the various buttons, you can see the Chroma effects that are playing on my local hardware. And if I open up the streaming overlay, I can request a shortcode for the Windows PC platform. And with the shortcode, we can authorize this PC for streaming. So let's do that now. We go into the streaming portal, into our profile. You can either create a stream source or edit an existing stream source. And we just need to authorize that code, FB7 FCD. And now our stream source is authorized for streaming. So back in Unreal, I can now request the stream ID and stream key. And we no longer need the shortcode to access our ID and key, so we can release it. And now we can broadcast. We go from the ready state to broadcasting, and now we're broadcasting. If we move this to the side here, we can see that right in the broadcast, we can see the broadcast state is synchronized. So while I'm broadcasting, we have the red broadcasting circle next to my streams, and also the stream source that's broadcasting has the red border, and broadcasting it goes back to normal and we're no longer broadcasting. And then also if I watch, it'll get the green watching circle and end watching. Okay, so we saw the editor can play effects and it's able to stream. If we just hit escape, we can do the 32-bit and 64-bit builds, and we can test Chroma animations and streaming in the standalone builds. Okay, so the next step is doing a build. We'll go File, Package Project, and select the Windows 64-bit option. And I'll just put it into the build folder, and I'll make a new folder for Win64. And we'll build the standalone build. I can show the output log. Okay, so the build is completed successfully. Looks like 427 just has 64-bit builds, so I can use the earlier version of Unreal to do the 32-bit version. But we're done with the editor, so I'll just close that down. And now we can look at the output folder. Alright, so if we go to the build folder, I just built the 64-bit build. If we look in this folder, we've got our exe. And if I go into the project folder, binaries, Win64, it looks like we'll have to add the 64-bit version of the Chroma editor library here. So I can go ahead and deploy the Windows PC version of the 64-bit library and stick it right next to the exe in binaries Win64 folder. We also need the Chroma animation content, so if we go to the project folder, content, we need to copy our Chroma animations here. So we can get those from the root project folder, content, and I want to copy the Chroma animations to the build content folder. Okay, and now we're ready to run the 64-bit build. I'll run the exe. Okay, and here's the build. So it has streaming support. Okay, and as we play the sample effects, we can see it on our local hardware. Okay, so Chroma on the local machine is doing good. Now we can set up the broadcasting. So I can open up the stream overlay. And in this case, we're on the Windows PC platform. I can request a shortcode. And then we need to authorize a stream source so that we can broadcast to it. Within your profiles, you can either create a new stream source or edit an existing one. And you just need to authorize the shortcode. VD 8D0. Okay, and now we're authorized. Get the stream ID and key for broadcasting, and we no longer need the shortcode. Now we're in the ready state. Now we can broadcast the stream. And we can see that the stream status on the portal is in sync with our local machine. So ending the broadcast, goes away, and we can watch. Okay, watching a stream, toggles the stream source for watching, and ending watching goes back to the ready state. Now, while we're broadcasting, we can close the stream overlay, and as you switch different effects, you'll see those Chroma effects are being broadcast. So the 64-bit version for Windows PC is set up. Let's close this, and we can do the 64-bit cloud version. Okay, so back in the 64-bit build, now we'll set up Chroma animations and streaming for a cloud instance, so for cloud gaming. And in this case, we go into the project folder, and content is the same, so you definitely want to have your Chroma animations in your standalone build content folder. And within the binaries folder, Win64, we need the cloud version of our Chroma editor library. Go. So this is the 64-bit Chroma editor library, cloud version. And then for cloud gaming, it's running on a remote instance. It won't have Synapse installed, and so we need the RZ Chroma SDK 64-bit library to be with the Chroma editor library, and this will handle playing Chroma animations on the cloud. And also we need the streaming plugin, 64-bit version, for streaming Chroma from the cloud to our stream source. Okay, so with these 64-bit versions, we should be ready to go. And we go to our 64-bit build folder and run the exe. Okay, and here's the sample app running a cloud instance. And so right away we can see we have streaming support. Here's the streaming overlay. We're in the ready state. And we have all the sample effects to play like in the Windows PC version. Now when we play the different effects, we won't actually see it on our local hardware because this is a remote instance. Here you can see the effects aren't responding on the local machine because we need to broadcast remotely in order to see it on our local machine. Okay, so let's set up the streaming so we can see these Chroma animations locally that are running on the remote instance. So we need the streaming overlay. We'll change the platform. I'll switch over to GeForce Now. And we need a shortcode. Okay, so back in the streaming portal, you can either create a new stream source or edit an existing one. And I need to authorize the source. So I'll authorize it. 7568A. And authorize. Okay, so now that we've authorized the streaming source, there's a button right here which will take us to the watch page. So on our local machine, we want to watch this stream, because when we broadcast to it, we'll want to be able to see the events that are streaming. Now that we're authorized, we can get the stream ID and stream key, and we're done with the shortcode. And now we can broadcast. So now we're broadcasting. It's a remote instance, and the channel will buffer for about 10 seconds, and then react immediately to any effects that we play Chroma-wise. Okay, so the watch page is now subscribed to our channel. Any animations we play in the cloud instance will show on our local machine. Alright, so we're done with the stream overlay. Okay, so the watch page has focus. It's going to play the stream source animations, and as I click the different effect buttons, we can see that our local machine responds to the stream right away. Okay, and if we look at the stream overlay, we can see that we're currently broadcasting. We can see the events on our local hardware that show that we are watching the stream source, and it's reflecting what we are doing inside the sample app. And if we end broadcasting, we can see that the local machine immediately pauses, and Chroma is no longer updating. And if we broadcast again, we go from the ready state back to broadcasting, the page will buffer, and then now we're back to watching the stream source. Now for cloud builds, get focus, set focus, watching, and watch end aren't implemented because you can't really watch on remote hardware. You have to broadcast to see it on your local hardware. So those methods don't really make sense. And there you go. So that's how you set up Chroma streaming for Windows PC and cloud for the 64-bit version. For the 32-bit version, It follows the same process, except for you'd use the 32-bit DLLs. Okay, so back in our project folder, we can also set up the 32-bit version. So to do that, we just right-click on the project, switch Unreal version, and we can switch back to an earlier version with 32-bit support. So 421. Okay, and we can clean some stuff up. So we don't need the solution, the save files, the intermediate, derived data cache, Visual Studio files, and within binaries, we still need the 32-bit Chroma editor library. If I edit the U plugin file, we can change the engine version to 421.0. And now we can generate the Visual Studio project files. Okay, so for 421, I'll use Visual Studio 2017. So open up the solution in Visual Studio 2017 and build the project. Alright, so the build succeeded, so our solution is built, our plugin is built, we're done with Visual Studio, and now we can open up the U project file. Now I'm in a version that has 32-bit build support. We can go into the content levels sample app level and run, and it has streaming support, and we can play the Chroma effects. Okay, and if I play the different effects, there we go. We see it on our local hardware. And if I open up the stream overlay, so let's go to our profile page, and now that we're no longer watching, now we can generate a shortcode. Okay, so I can request a shortcode. There we go. And now we can authorize a stream source. Okay, so you can either create a stream source or edit an existing one. And I'll just authorize the shortcode. B3C BC4. Okay, and now that we're authorized, I can get the stream ID and stream key, and we can release the shortcode. If I broadcast, you can see the broadcast toggle is on, and it selected the stream source that's broadcasting. If I end broadcasting, the toggle goes off, and if I watch the stream, see the watch circle on the nav bar, and if I stop watching, the toggle goes off. Okay, so we see Chroma and streaming are working in the Unreal editor. Hit escape, and now we can build our 32-bit build. So File, Package Project, Windows 32-bit, and in the build folder, I'll add a Win32 folder, and we'll build the standalone for 32-bit, and we can watch the output log. Okay, the 32-bit build is complete, and we're done with the Unreal editor. Now we can go to the build folder, and under Win32, here is our 32-bit build. Okay, so within the project folder, content, we need the Chroma animations copied here. So I'll go up to the project folder, content, and copy the Chroma animations, and paste that into our build content folder. Okay, and within the build project folder, binaries 132. This time we need the Windows PC library, so I need the 32-bit version of the library, and drop that in here. And now we're ready to try it out. So in the build folder, we can run the exe. The Chroma emulator will show our local hardware status, and we can see that the Chroma animations are playing. And let's open up the stream overlay. So for Windows PC, we're on PC, and request a shortcode. And we can create a new stream source or edit an existing one, and authorize the shortcode 26E0B5. Okay, authorize the shortcode, and we're good. Alright, back to the profile page. Now that we're authorized, we can get the stream ID, the stream key, and we're done with the shortcode. And now we can broadcast, and we see the state is reflected, so broadcast toggle is on. We see the broadcast state. If I stop broadcasting, we're back to the ready state. If I watch, we can see the watch state and the toggle is on, and ending watching goes back to the ready state. So there we go. The 32-bit Windows PC build is working for Chroma and streaming. Let's do the cloud version. So back in the build folder, within the project folder content, you still need the animations. And within binaries, Win32, we want the cloud versions of these DLLs. So you want the 32-bit Chroma editor library, and replace. You want the RZ Chroma SDK DLL because Synapse does not run in the cloud. And we want the 32-bit streaming plugin so that we can stream Chroma on the cloud to our stream source. Okay, and now we're all set up for cloud gaming. If I go to the build folder, I can run the 32-bit build. Okay, here we go. Streaming's enabled, and we see our effects. Okay, and again, when it's a cloud instance, you won't see anything on your local hardware unless we're watching a stream. So let's go to the stream overlay, and we'll change the platform to GeForce Now. I'll request a shortcode, and we need to either create a stream source or edit one. And I need to authorize the stream source D6BF7D. Okay, we're authorized, and we can click this button here to take us to the watch page. Okay, and with the window having focus, if we switch to our app, the watch page is subscribed to our stream source. Now I can get the ID, so I'll get the stream ID and get the stream key, and we're done with the shortcode. And now we can broadcast. So to go to the broadcasting status, this is running on the remote instance and sending Chroma to our local machine that's watching the stream source. If I close the overlay, so if I go through some of these effects, you can see that they respond right away. So the Chroma is playing on a remote instance, broadcasting the Chroma effects to the stream source, and then we have a page that we're watching on our local machine to see the Chroma effects on our local hardware. Okay, and I can stop broadcasting, and we can see that our local machine is also paused. Now, for a cloud instance, get focus, set focus, watch, and watch end. Don't do anything, because that doesn't make sense for the cloud. And there we go. So you've seen how to do Chroma streaming for Windows PC and Windows Cloud for 32-bit and 64-bit for Unreal Engine 4 projects. And thanks for watching.